Here's our lesson for today, and we'll be starting with the warm-up. So we're given two equations, and we need to match the move that turns one equation into the other. Okay, so you guys don't need to worry about this part. Okay, so if we look at number 1, we are trying to see how do we get from this equation to this equation? What is happening? So we can see in this line, we no longer have a 3x. Okay, so if we were to subtract 3x from this side, those would cancel. And if we subtract 3x from 5x, we get 2x. So we did B, subtract 3x to each side. If we look at our next one, we're getting from here to here. So we still have an x on both sides, but how can we get from 12x to 4x, from 3 to 1, from 6 to 2, all in the same way? We could divide everything by 3. 12 divided by 3 is 4, 3 divided by 3 is 1, and 6 divided by 3 is 2. So for this one, we did E. Oops. Divide each side by 3. If we look at our next one, we have our top equation here and our second equation here. So how did we get from here to here? We multiplied by -3 to both sides. That would cancel -3 on the bottom, and 12 times -3 gives us -36. So for this one, we multiplied each side by -3. So we did F. So that means our last one, going from here to here, you can see that 4x minus 3, that part stayed the same inside the parentheses, but our -3 is gone. So if we want to do that, we'd have to divide by -3 to get those to cancel, and then -15 divided by -3 gives us 5. So here we did A, divide each side by -3, okay? So that part's great if you can see those steps, but the main thing for today is I want you to be able to solve, okay? So we're going to go through a couple of examples, and I'll give you guys some to work on as well. So first we're going to start with A. If you want to draw that line down the center, you can, but we're just going to start with our variable here. We have n plus 16, so we need to subtract 16 so we can cancel that. So we can subtract 16, that'll cancel, and we have to subtract it over here as well, so that gives us -9 equals n. Okay, addition and subtraction cancel each other out, so whichever one you start with, you'll use the other one to cancel. So here we have our variable k at the top is being divided by 3, and then we're subtracting 7. So if we read that, k divided by 3 minus 7, we're canceling the -7 first. So we can draw that line, add 7, so we get 2 equals k over 3. Now we can multiply by 3 because k is getting divided by 3. And we have 3 times 2, which gives us 6. So 6 equals k. Now I'm going to give you guys 2 more to work on. So for B and D, I'd like you guys to write for B, 72 equals 4m. And for D, -3 equals 2 plus a over 15. So I'd like you guys to pause the video and try those two on your own. So for b, because we have multiplication, we have to divide. So we're dividing both sides by 4. 72 divided by 4 gives us 18. And for d, we have to subtract the 2 first from both sides. We get negative 5 equals a over 15. This is our division. So we have to multiply by 15 to both sides. So negative 75 equals a. If we look over at e, first thing we have to do is take this negative 6 and distribute that to both things inside of our parentheses. So we can draw that line. Negative 18 is not going to change. Negative 6 times p gives us negative 6p, and negative 6 times 1 gives us negative 6. Now this problem is just like the last one. We can start by adding 6 to both sides. So we get negative 12 equals negative 6p. Then because that's multiplication, we're going to divide both sides by negative 6. 12 divided by negative 6 gives us 2. So 2 equals p. And for g, we don't have anything to distribute here because we don't have these parentheses like we did in the last one. However, we do have two terms that have a variable. So we want to combine those first. So we're going to add these together. We do not need to cancel signs because we are not moving anything over to the other side just yet. Okay? So, for example, when we moved this 6 over to this side, we were trying to cancel it on this side. Okay, that's why we had to use the opposite sign. But here we're not moving anything, we're just combining, so we can just add. So we have 4 plus 5r plus 5r gives us 10r equals 24. Now we can subtract 4 from both sides, and we get 10r equals 20. And because we have multiplication with our variable, divide both sides by 10, r equals 2. Okay, and I will give you 2 more for you guys to try. So for f, we have 50 equals 5 times negative 1 plus b. And for h, we have 24 equals 6n plus 2 plus 4. So pause the video, try those on your own, and then continue playing to check your work. So for f, you should have gotten 11 equals b. You can check your work here, pause the video if you need to. And for h, you should have gotten 3 equals n. Again, check your work, pause the video if you need. And when you're done, we can go to the next page. So here we have a couple more to try. Okay, I'd like you guys to try I on your own, as well as J. So I'm going to give you guys J right now so you can write that down. So for J, we're going to have 8 times negative 7n minus 2 equals 264. So I'd like you guys to try I and J, pause the video, and then play to check your work. Alright, so for I, you should get n equals 4, and for J, you should get n equals negative 5. Pause the video if you need to check your work. And the last one we're going to talk about today is K. So we have our sets of parentheses here that we need to distribute to. So we're going to take this 3 and multiply it to what's in that first set of parentheses. So we get 3 times 3x gives us 9x, and 3 times negative 6 gives us negative 18. Now for our second set, we're going to take positive 8 and distribute that to what's inside our parentheses. So we take 8 times 1 gives us a positive 8, so we want to make sure we're writing the plus sign. And then 8 times 8x equals positive 64x, and that all equals negative 10. So we can draw that line down. And because we have two terms on this side with variables and two without, we're going to combine like terms. So our two terms with an x are going to get combined together, and our two terms without an x, or constants, are going to get combined together. So first we have 9x plus 64x. Those are just going to get added together to give us 73x. Then we have negative 18 plus 8. That gives us negative 10 equals negative 10. Okay? Now we can combine like terms, or sorry, move things from one side to the other. So this is just like the first page. We can add 10, those cancel, add 10, those also cancel. So what happens is we still have this 73x, but that's going to equal 0, which is fine. And now we can still divide by 73. But when we divide by 73, we just get 0. So x equals 0 for that one. Okay? So I'd like you guys to pause the video after I write this one down and try this last one. So for L, we have negative 44 equals 6 times 1 minus 6x minus 7 times 2 minus 6x. So go ahead and pause this video and try this one on your own. So for this one, we should get negative 6 equals x. Go ahead and pause the video if you need to double check your work. We'll finish the rest of these tomorrow in class. But for now, if you have any questions, please let me know. Write them down so you make sure to ask.